It's the 6th one.
6 episodes of season 3.
Nice and simple. Already! It's not... Well, we were just discussing this. It's not even been a full month into 2018 and we've recorded a whole gang of these motherfuckers.
Yep. I like that we don't date our podcasts.
What?
Because this is going up in March.
Yep. Well, all being well. Yeah, so we're getting our crime on this week, aren't we? We're going to be talking about the Fall and Mindhunter, which was weird because at the end of last episode, you remember that we had this put against Atypical, wasn't it? We had Mindhunter against, and then we realised that made no fucking sense.
Yep. I mean, it took a couple of minutes to resolve. Just went.
That's exactly what I did.
Shows about probably murder.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did for the one that we're doing, the Atypical one, which will be a special. We don't know when it's coming out because we realised we had to make 2 new shows pretty much. So yeah, but that will be coming out at some point. So there'll be maybe a week or 2 weeks where there'll be... Well, maybe there'll be 3 episodes where there'll be 1 each week for 3 weeks.
And isn't that the dream? Yeah, to listen to us talk about TV every week.
Again. Which one do you want to start with? I will leave that up to you.
Shall we go with Mindhunter?
Mindhunter. Which sounds like... it could be a terrible BBC game show.
It could be. Could be like a rival to Mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
That allows you to choose Harry Potter as your specialist subject.
Master Mindhunter.
But no, this is... Because it's weird, because I wasn't sure what this was about.
What, at all?
I had a vague idea that it was about murder stuff. But I didn't realise it was more about the psychology side of it, and like it's like the starts of psychological profiling in the FBI. Mm-hmm. Which is not what I expected. I expected them to be hunting down serial killers.
It sort of was exactly what I was expecting because I'd watched half of it before we were doing it for today. And also, I think I heard about it on... Well, first it was the IGN podcast, and then a bunch of other podcasts had adverts for it just before Christmas. So that's how I heard about it, and I thought, that sounds fun. So then I started watching it.
Yeah. And I mean, going into it, and like with the opening sort of scene, I was just like, okay, it's just a guy doing crime stuff. Because he arrives at a hostage situation as the FBI negotiator and sort of half talks this guy down. And then I was a bit sort of like, oh, it's that sort of show when the guy just blows his head off like in full view of the camera. I was like,
That's quite a shocking moment, isn't it, when his head just disappears. He blows it off. But I really enjoy that scene. I think there's some fairly good dark humour in that, where the chap who's holding the woman hostage, he's convinced that no one can see him, so he just takes his clothes off.
Can you see me? Yeah, yes, I can see you, and it looks like you're cold.
The delivery on that is amazing. Is that I can see that you're standing there. I can see that you're cold. I just fucking love that. So yeah, and then he shoots himself in the face.
Yeah. And then it cuts to your man Holden Ford arriving at Quantico.
Ooh. Is there not a more American name than Holden Ford? Oh, actually, maybe Holt McCallany.
No,
Yeah.
I mean Holden Ford sounds like someone from Australia has gone, I like cars. We have Holdens and we have Fords. I don't want him to be a fan of either specifically, so both are his name.
But he sort of is frustrated because he sees that it's, you know, hostage situations inside the minds of criminals. It's a little bit more complicated than they're just bad people doing bad stuff.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to get away from this whole, like, people are just born that way sort of mentality.
But equally, he brilliantly has this naivety of someone who's just left education or has just spent a lot of time doing theoretical things, and he spends the episode trying to convince people who've had practical experience of those things. Later on in the episode, he's chatting to a bunch of people, a bunch of cops, and some of whom worked on the Charles Manson case, and he's like, yeah, well, it's XYZ, and the guy's like, I was there, it's fucking nothing like that.
Oh yeah, because he was suggesting that, I mean, quite rightly to us now, that stuff that happened in Charles Manson's early life
Were big
quite likely contributed to
his being a fuckhead.
His doing crimes. Well, actually, getting other people to do crimes.
Yeah, that's weird, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like Charles Manson is horrifically interesting. Like that whole story, I was like, okay, that's a face I recognise.
God bloody hell. I think I've said this before, and even on this show, that I think true crime has found its sort of its platform in podcasting. And I remember listening to a podcast about Charles Manson. I was like, fucking hell, it was just fucking terrifying. I can't listen to those podcasts when I'm on my own or if it's night. I have to be out in the daylight.
Those are kind of freaky podcasts to listen to. I once made the mistake of just being like, it'd be nice to have some background noise on while I'm trying to go to sleep.
Oh god, you didn't put on a fucking crime podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't fucking sleep.
You're a mentalist.
I was lying there, and I listened to, I think it was like a 2-part episode, so they're about a half hour each. I listened to the full hour because I was like, I have to get to the bit where they end up in prison. And they are not coming to get me.
I have to get to the bit where they say they're definitely not under my bed.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, cool. Now I need to listen to something like nice. And I think I found like a Lord of the Rings audiobook and was like, put that on.
Wait, so you said it's a 2-part one? It was
that podcast.
Was that podcast called simply just Serial Killers?
Yes.
Oh, I'm about to start listening to that. I've got a bunch lined up for when I go to work.
They're really good. Their Jack the Ripper one is really good.
Okay, I'm going to start that downloading as soon as I can then.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was on a train and just went, I really fancy listening to some serial killer, like some true crime podcasts. And I just typed in serial killers. And Jack the Ripper came up, that one came up first, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll listen to that.
There's a bunch of internet theorists who have decided they believe the theory that Jack the Ripper was actually H.H. Holmes. And there's one that I listen to sort of semi-regularly called Generation Y, and they had the guy who wrote a book about Jack the Ripper, and he was like, right, could this have happened? And he basically just went, well, fucking no.
Yeah, that serial killer podcast is really good because they go into, like this show does, sort of the psychology around it.
Ah, okay. Oh, I like that.
Which is really interesting. Also, makes them a little bit longer. Rather than, it's not just like a, here's everything that happened. It's like a, here's things that happened, but we'll pull back a little bit and go, maybe this is why.
Okay, well, it's definitely good that we're, on our tiny podcast saying, this is a much better podcast. Go and listen to this instead.
It's not even, it's just different.
Yeah.
They're very specific. Unsolved crime podcasts.
Oh, I've got that lined up as well.
I like them, but
a
little bit more scary because you're like, what do you mean unsolved? You mean they didn't catch anyone? Okay. I'm just going to not sleep tonight.
Oh, I could. Oof, no. Oh, I remember. Oh, I'll quickly. We will get back onto Mindhunter, but I remember a friend of mine at work. We used to work on a site together that was about an hour's drive away. So what I then did was to bring in my Bluetooth speaker, and I'd download a few Generation Y podcast, and we just listened to them on the way up and the way down. And I remember there was one we listened to about Richard Ramirez, who's also called the Night Stalker, and I don't remember much about it other than he was vicious. But there was one thing that they said that he did in one of his crimes is he'd get into a hotel room silently while the people were just in the bed, and he would just lie on the floor waiting for his eyes to adjust to the darkness. And just that thought was, oh god, it absolutely terrified me. The fact that he's just getting ready to, so he has the full advantage, so then he'd jump up, shine a light in their eyes. Oh fucking hell, Jesus.
Yeah, there are some, I think with some of them where it's more of a sort of a passionate thing where they're like, and then they just go out and kill a bunch of people, and you're like, I can sort of see how that could happen if you snapped and you just go over a few days and just kill a bunch of people, and then you go, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it's the one, there was a guy in Alaska who he made a bunch of kill kits and buried them and hid them all over. I can't remember if it was just Alaska or if it was all over the US. And so if he ever felt the urge, he would go pick up one of these kits.
Oh my god.
Do a murder, and then put it all back, and then go home.
Jesus
and I was like,
Christ.
How bad do you have to want that to be sort of oh yeah, well, if I just make sure that I have all the stuff ready when I feel like it, I can just drive to an airport, get a plane, then I can come home afterwards. I mean, he got caught. Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Never going to America.
Here's the thing, though. You only know about the serial killers that were caught.
That is true. Well, apart from the Zodiac Killer, we know a lot about him, that, just not who he is.
And Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what our podcast is about. I got to be honest. The first half of the show, I didn't really engage with all that much. It was only once Bill Tench turned up I thought, right, now we're getting somewhere. Because I think the two of them, Holden Ford and Bill Tench, they're sort of to and fro, where Tench is look, I totally understand the psychology aspect that you want to explore, but also there is this other aspect you need to understand, that there's a practical application of police work that you're not quite experienced with, but I do want to help you.
Yeah, and it seems like they're both kind of a bit jaded by the whole, the way the FBI is viewing what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of going oh look, if we can build profiles of likely serial killers, then even if we're not necessarily serial killers but criminals, they can sort of go, well, then if we can't find someone, we can go, well, they're probably likely to be this spectrum of things. Yeah. And then that you can narrow it down like that. But I think his first foray into it is going back to university, college, place to study criminology.
Yeah.
And there's just that guy who's you're trying to recruit me, and he's like, well, I mean, no. Well, yes, but I just want to hear your thoughts on criminology and how it would relate to how the FBI does their job. And I was just
he just didn't want anything to do with it. No, fuck you, FBI, don't want to do it.
But I don't understand, I mean, I guess maybe people wouldn't want to do that sort of thing, but it just annoyed me because I was well, that's very dismissive. He's literally asking for help to say, I just want to do my job better.
Surely, also, if you're in criminology and you spend your life, working towards it, writing all these theses about what's going on and all that, and then literally the FBI turn up on your door and say, hey, you know that thing that you've dedicated your life to, we want to apply that to how we do stuff. You will literally be changing the face of police work and that sort of thing. Is that not everything that you want if you're a criminologist?
Yeah. Weirdly, it reminds me of sort of Hannibal Lecter and
Will Graham
in the Hannibal TV show, where they're sort of brought in from the outside to be like, hey, what do you think? Help us. I mean, it's slightly different because Will has that weird empathy power.
Yeah. Well,
and Hannibal Lecter's a serial killer.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to finish Hannibal this year.
It's about fucking time.
Because I didn't over Christmas. Like I said, I was going to on the Lost episode. But no, I will finish that because I was thinking about it the other day. And I need to know how that finishes. Particularly if they are going to do a series 4. But
yeah, I mean, when Holden goes to, I can't remember where it is. It's Iowa, I think.
Yeah.
To do their like seminar on criminology to these hardened police veterans, and then he just starts talking at them like they're college educated like people, and they're just like, why didn't you just say the simple thing you said at the end when I said I don't understand?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say that first? So it seems like he's got a lot of getting used to that sort of thing to do.
But that's where I think, obviously, Bill's going to come and like pull him down on that sort of thing. But equally, there's going to be opportunities where Holden pulls him up on stuff as well. He's like, well, could it not be this? Like, there's that scene where he looks like they're discussing a recent murder that's happened in Iowa with one of the cops who was in this sort of seminar, I suppose, that he'd held. And he looks like he's getting somewhere with working out why it happened, and then all of a sudden he goes, nope, I've got no idea. I haven't got a clue. Don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but my problem is I couldn't tell if that was because he was uncomfortable with, like, I guess the content of what he was looking at, or if he was just like, I just legitimately don't know enough to help.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
but then maybe...
yeah, actually, I think you've got something there, because then that would lend itself to... He has no, like, practical experience. Like, it's all very well looking at pictures of past cases and being like, yes, this happened because of this happened because of this, but when he's presented with fresh evidence of which he's supposed to divine meaning, it affects him slightly differently. He goes, do you know what? I feel a bit sick. Not having any of this.
But then in the very opening, in the opening scene, he watches a guy blow his head off. So
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just because it looks. I mean, from the description of like what it was, it sounds very much like almost like a premeditated sort of serial killing sort of thing. Because I think they mentioned that there was either a similar case or something similar happened somewhere else. But the thing, I hope that they do go down that route of like applying some of their, I guess, evolving techniques of profiling to actually solve some crimes throughout the series.
Yeah. Well, it's obviously going to, because obviously the FBI did start then bringing up this is the story of the people who did invent the sort of profiling techniques that they've come up with. So I don't know if, well, I'm assuming you know this, but you know in this show, they bring in real life cases. So they interview like serial killers who actually existed. Well, obviously people who like are playing them in the show, but they're either based on or they are actual named as serial killers and stuff.
Oh, that's interesting. Because do they get into just sort of interviewing them to sort of get like because they in like the opening credit they have that scene of like the spooling up the recorder.
Yeah.
But at no point in this episode did I see a tape recorder.
No, but I think that comes in later, I imagine.
Yeah. But like the thing, this is based around so much stuff that I find interesting.
Yeah. I was watching it. I was thinking, this is like they've made this for Rich. Like he's gonna be fucking loving this.
But interestingly, later on this year, we're going to be doing Criminal Minds, which is based on like sort of the end result of what comes out of this.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Perhaps that would have been an interesting one to put with Mindhunter.
Yeah, but then the episode title would just be Minds.
Or Crime Hunter.
Or Mindhunter.
Criminal Hunter.
But no, are you going to keep watching it?
I think I liked it a lot more than I realised. Like, talking about it now, I'm realising that actually I did really enjoy it. But at the time, I was sort of like, up until, like, you know, I like I said, I really enjoyed the second half where Tench comes in. Also, I was looking at Tench, I fucking know you from somewhere. I was like, oh shit, he's in Fight Club. And of course, this is a David Fincher thing, isn't it? Like we were talking about with Mr. Robot, the colour palette's all the same. It's exactly the same colours in this.
Yeah, this...
Yeah,
like, the thing is, I'd watch this even if it was a documentary.
But then I almost think, is it not more interesting? If you were looking at real documentaries about the real cases, is that not more fascinating that, you know, stranger than fiction and all that it actually happened?
Yeah, the thing, I guess... I think I could probably quite happily watch both. Because this is just a dramatisation of something that happened. In the same way that I've watched Rush and a documentary that follows exactly the same story.
Yeah.
That one of them's just a bit more lively.
That would
in the old murder department.
That'd be quite an interesting sort of double billing, wouldn't it? If you found a subject about which there was, you know, a fiction film, a narrative film, and a documentary, wouldn't it be interesting? You watch the documentary first, and then the narrative film like immediately after. That would be really good. I wonder what you could do that with.
Or the other way round.
Yeah.
If you watch the dramatisation first, and then watch the documentary, because then it's basically fact checking.
That's true. Actually, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's fair enough. You're obviously going to carry on watching this if you've.
Oh fuck yeah! I legitimately just sort of went. I only want to talk about the first episode.
Yeah.
I can't, and I was even there just like I can't just let it play on, because I will watch the whole series.
Yeah.
And then I'll be sat here talking about the whole thing rather than just.
Is that a technicality as well? Because that means you can put it on your top 5.
Yes.
Thought so. All right. The Fall.
The Fall is slightly different because it's in Ireland.
It is with an English voiced Gillian Anderson. So I really like the whole, you know when you have a show or a film or a story or whatever where law enforcement from another area is brought in to an area to do an investigation in it. I really like that as a setup. So
because it means because you kind of get to see
you're thrown in with them.
Yeah, because then they're asking all the questions that you might ask, and you just sort of go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
They're basically just like they are just there as someone to ask questions for you.
So Gillian Anderson's character is sent to Belfast to look over this investigation into a high-profile murder, and she is warned by her, I suppose, her sort of superior to just look at this case, but she starts piecing together that there might be other crimes linked to this one, which it's implied that she's sort of done before, and while she's going through this, we also see another chap who, over the course of the series, stalks a woman, breaks into a house, and ultimately we're just shown that he's not particularly nice, and at the end you see him, it's implied that he murders another woman. So this one, the pilot very much is set up as an introduction, I think, to Stella and
Paul.
And
he has a surname, but I can't remember what it is.
Neither can I. It feels like we're going to spend pretty much equal amounts of time with both the police officer who's chasing the murderer and the murderer who's trying to evade the police, which is quite an interesting, like, structural choice. But I gotta say, beyond that, this really did not grab me.
Did not because there was a scene where I'm pretty sure it was Paul and Stella in a bed together, but I might have read it wrong. They might not have been in a bed together.
I don't think they were.
Because
there's a sequence where they're... Go on.
Because if they were, that would make it a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, completely. But he is shown with his wife. It's just not Stella.
Yeah, I thought it was quite early on. It was like after she'd had like a whole packing a suitcase, and then he's come back from his... when the police turn up at the woman's house. And then she gets... Maybe it was just his wife.
I think it is, because the first scenes you see of them is she's getting ready like in a bathroom and packing up to go to Ireland, and he's in a bathroom
in someone else's bathroom.
Yeah. He's in a bathroom sorting himself out. So they do mirror each other, but then he does just get in bed with his wife. It's not Stella. Oh. But it's a shame, because I think you've come up with a better idea than this show.
Well, yeah, because from that scene on, I was like, okay, so he has a wife and a girlfriend. He's also a serial killer, and his girlfriend is hunting him. How could this not be?
That's basically just Dexter, isn't it?
Maybe. I haven't watched much of Dexter.
Oh, okay. What I
didn't care for it.
I liked the first series, and then I just gave up after halfway through the second, because it was bullshit.
I watched like 3 episodes and just went, nah. Kind of over. I was... Because it's different to... Like... Because for that, it would just be someone sleeping with the person chasing them.
Yeah.
But it was actually his job to catch
serial killers.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's a bit on the nose. Could you maybe not?
Oh, I might give the books a go, because I think she was reading the books like while we were at uni, I think, or she had read them, but she recommends them. So maybe I might try the books, because I was just saying to you before we started, I want to try, read a bit more. But yeah, I don't know. My parents loved it, because I remember like being in the room while they were watching it, but it was just so bland. It was like, there's a serial killer, he's breaking in, she's looking for him, just a bit of a dull
possibly
procedure, I think.
My favourite thing about it was just the ineptitude of like the police.
Oh, they're fucking useless, aren't they? But then even in that episode they go, I think we fucked up. I was like, yeah, probably. Having a go at a woman, saying that someone's in her house, and then not believing her.
And then, like, just knocking on the door and just being like, yeah, no, all looks fine. It's just like, there's clearly a light on in this scene where he's upstairs pinning her to the bed. Maybe. I sort of half expected her to get a scream out, and then I was like, but no, that would really ruin the longevity of the show. I think he's going to have an interesting sort of spiral. Because from the looks of it, he's at the end of the episode committing his 3rd murder?
Presumably, yeah. So
I think that could spiral, or it'll come out that he's maybe killed a lot more people.
Yeah. I would think that a really interesting thing to do now is try and make that character likeable, because it's going to be fairly... if you're watching it, just knowing he's a serial killer the whole time, and wanting him to get his comeuppance, it's just... yeah, you've just seen it before, haven't you? But if they then manage to make... and they try and make him sort of... well, they make him seem a bit more human, because with his kids and with his wife, he's, family man, and he's a therapist, relationship counsellor as his job, and
like the first night he comes home and his like son's just sat on the stairs like, where have you been? And he's just like, I just went to the shop to get some painkillers for my head. This kid's like, we've got painkillers. What's in your bag? And he's just like, nothing.
Just belt up. Just go to bed.
Just my murder kit.
I bought it from a guy in Alaska.
Don't ask too many questions. Might kill you.
Was there anything that like jumped out at you with this? Then do you feel differently, or
the scene that I imagined in my head definitely jumped out at me because I was like, that would be
a scene that I made up was better than what was happening on screen. Jesus.
I think for me, the interest would be in seeing how the police come to realise it's him, because they're going to realise at some point bad guys never win. How... Because I can see him spiralling into... And maybe just getting sloppy. I don't know. Feeling like he can just always get away with it. Mm. I'd maybe want to see less of the weird warm-up to break him in.
That's where he's just standing in that fucking... Where is he? Like, just in a cupboard or something?
I thought he was just outside or something. I was like...
There's a bunch of, like, chairs that you have in school just stacked up. I was like, where the fuck are you? But I guess maybe that'll, like... it'll be revealed later.
But I sort of got the feeling that it might be... I'd say Monster of the Week, but it'd just be Murder of the Week. No, I guess. I feel like he might go through, like, one a week.
Oh, he might. I see. Okay, I thought you meant like a different murder, like a different case each week. But yeah, nah, just a bit. You know, it's okay. Like, give it a watch, but it's not that good. I don't think.
I wonder if he'll go into maybe toying with the police, sort of like a Jack the Ripper, Zodiac Killer style. Because that might be interesting if he starts almost realizing that what he's doing is wrong, but not stopping and just like trying to goad someone into catching him. Or maybe chasing down, like, Infamy or something, I don't know. I don't know, it could be interesting. I might watch some more of it.
Yeah.
I think maybe I might watch the first season, because it's only, like, 5 episodes.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And then see how I feel after season 1.
Yeah. I just didn't grab me. It's a shame, because, you know, I've heard good things about it. But
and it's like the content of it seems right up our street.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, we like a bit of serial killing and, you know, police procedural. But it just, I was thinking of shows that did this better, like, you know, UK crime stuff. Like Happy Valley is fantastic, and we've only recently finished watching all of those. We started another one with Sarah Lancashire called Kiri. Have you seen that advertised?
Nope.
We've watched the first one of that, and it's brilliant. So, it just, you know, and perhaps it was, you know, tarnished by just being in my consciousness at the same time as better shows. Maybe I'd have liked it more if I hadn't just watched, you know, 2 shows that are fairly similar.
Yeah, maybe it would have benefited from not
being shit.
Maybe not outing Paul so early on as the serial. But then you'd have to explain why you're following this relationship counsellor.
But then if it's a case
but then
of
unless
you're looking
that
for
was...
who done it, then it's like, well, you're going to start pointing fingers, and eventually it will become clear. So it's, I don't know. It's interesting that they've gone for, right, this is your serial killer. Or this is the guy who's doing it all, like right from the get-go.
Because that does seem like an uphill battle for his character. But I guess they've sort of done that thing where they just sort of jump in and go, because they're following Stella in, so he's already established himself as like this is my hunting ground.
That's very true.
And I guess, I mean, I don't mind so much coming in sort of the middle of like a case, but I don't know, I feel like unless by the end of season 1 he's actively toying with the police and is maybe spiraling toward just, because now he seems very methodical, and I want to see him spiral into like a uncontrolled killer.
Yeah. Or if he loses his, you know, confidence, competence, and cool-headedness.
Or if, I don't know, his wife finds out, or his kid finds out, one of his kids finds out.
Yeah. I'm just struggling to, you know, get excited about it. Just one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't as good as Mindhunter.
No, I think Mindhunter is definitely the winner from this week. Not that we have winners anymore. This isn't the verses. Christ.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a police point of view, this could have been really interesting if it was just the police side. But then
again, I think I'd still be saying, well, I've seen it all before. You know, you got to do something different. I think if you're doing a who done it sort of thing. So,
I mean, I think I'm definitely going to give it season 1, and then I'll reevaluate, and I'll come back and I'll let you know if it gets better.
Speaking of coming back and letting each other know about stuff, it's time for the regular Gilmore Girls update.
Oh, finally! At least it's been here, so you've actually watched some, haven't you?
Correct. We are at. Why can't I? There we go. We are at series 5, and we've just watched episode 10 of that one.
Was that season 5? You said.
Yes, I think we've done like 5 episodes since last week, or something like that.
Well, that's not bad.
Season 5, episode 10. I can't remember what happens in that. Hang on. You're just checking with the research department. That's 5.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. It's when Rory gets a prospective student from Children.
Oh, God, yeah. And there was that weird thing where Logan does that weird skit with a bunch of his mates. That was funny. But yeah, no.
Wait, that means you've watched the Life and Death Brigade episode.
Yes, that was cool. I want to have a go at that, jumping off the thing.
Yeah, I really like that episode.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And also the Norman Mailer episode was pretty good, where Suki finds out she's pregnant again just by being nuts. Being
a dick. Yeah, we actually like jumped around and screamed about that. We're like, oh shit, she's pregnant again. I think since we're talking about Gilmore Girls, we're probably done with the Fall and Mindhunter. So next episode is going to be a special, as previously mentioned, because we needed something to go with Atypical. So there's going to be another release. We don't really know when, but when it comes out, you'll know about it because we'll post about it and everything. So we're going to look at Atypical and Friends from College, which sounds fun. I know nothing about either of these shows really, other than they're slightly similar. So that should be good fun.
And if that's not the next episode, the next one will be Narcos and Billions.
A Billion Narcos. I've already watched a few episodes of Narcos, but I'm going to have to rewatch them because I can't remember it. But it's good because you have to really concentrate because it's half in... I don't know what language, but it's a South American language. Because obviously it's...
You what? No, we need to change this. We need to change... I read subtitles.
Yeah, be a bit cultured. Don't be anti-intellectual. What's his name? The fucking Pablo Escobar. I couldn't think of his name, Jesus. And I think Paul Giamatti is in Billions as well, as Damien What's-his-chops, matey from... He's Yasin Gregorovic in the Stormbreaker movie, Christ's sake. That'll do.
Yep. It is that man.
Right. Well, this has been fun.
It has been.
Please do listen again. Not to this one, but...
Actually, yeah, just keep listening to this on a loop. Please.
We could really do with the views. Bye.